As you know, I have an informant that provides me a lot of information about Kyle Rittenhouse and the whole Kenosha shootings. Some of that has centered around a commentator that has been hanging around since, well, I don't know, probably about day one of the Kenosha saga, and that's Paul Katz. Now, I haven't gotten too involved in the Paul Katz issue. If you don't know, Paul Katz was a vicious anti Kyle and now has been posting a lot of pro Kyle content. This has caused many to believe that Paul Katz has sort of turned his leaf and is now siding with the rule of justice. Others are not so convinced, and my informant is definitely in that camp. He asked me if I could read his comments to my audience, and I agreed. I mean, he's put a lot of effort into the whole Kenosha shooting deal, and I don't mind if he wants to use my channel as sort of a platform for an alternative take. So I'm going to read his email to me, and I'll ask you what you think. Hello out there. I am trying to get through.
With his powerful brainwaves cradled in the warmth of reasoning, it's time for Johnny Walker Dread to straighten you out on a thing or two. Emanating all the way from exciting Las Vegas, Oklahoma, it's the Johnny Walker Dread Show.
Okay, so let me go ahead and read this. This is a breakdown of how Katz's latest video on Kyle, Reasons to Ponder Acquittal, shows he hasn't changed. If you can do a split screen of this and Katz's video, you can match the points he makes with what's below. I really don't have the time. It takes a lot of editing to do that, and I'm trying to get out a lot of content before the trial begins. I'm going to say that I'm not going to take a stand on Paul Katz as far as whether he is anti-Kyle or pro-Kyle. I don't really get involved in that too much, but there's a lot of Kylophiles out there who really do, and so I'm sure that this will interest them. Okay, he goes on to say, this is an instant lie. Kyle was not driven to a protest riot and left to patrol with strangers. This is an attempt to revive the debunked his mom drove him to a riot. Kyle was already in Kenosha the day before, slept at a friend's house that night, helped clean graffiti on the day, and later went to stand outside a business, protecting it with friends and offering medical aid to protesters. Yes, that much is true. Point 2. He manages to acknowledge Kyle wanted to get back to the business, and that is the garage, but couldn't because the police wouldn't let him. This seems fair, but it's actually a layup for point 3. All right, let's see what he says in point 3. Number 3, he starts with the police saying, "We appreciate you guys," and builds on the obsession people have with this. He goes as far as arguing a public authority defense. This basically says Kyle was knowingly committing crimes, but had been given permission to do so by the police. He's claiming Kyle's guilty of a crime while attacking law enforcement for their role in it, as he prepped his audience for in point 2. Which group of people claim Kyle and the police were working together? Is it people who support Kyle or people who don't? If you're unsure how Katz feels about cops, then his tweet referring to police as fascist punks is attached. And I won't go ahead and show that, but I don't doubt it. He throws in the lawsuit filed by Huber's family using that claim. Why? It's an ongoing civil lawsuit that hasn't been ruled on and isn't against Kyle. What he doesn't mention is a lawsuit was previously brought against Kyle and it was dismissed with prejudice. I'm not sure it was dismissed with prejudice. I believe it was retracted with prejudice. In other words, the attorneys pulled it and declared that they were not going to reinstate it. Is a lawsuit that's already been dealt with not more relevant than one that might never make it to court? Or is that inconvenient to Katz's narrative? And by the way, I have a video on that lawsuit. It's a real laugher. It was probably pulled because it was so embarrassing. Number 4, he's back to suggesting the public authority defense, that is, Kyle knowingly committed crimes but with police permission. The crimes Kyle's charged with are murder, so the public authority defense means Katz is suggesting Kyle intentionally murdered people but had police permission to do it because they gave him water and said they appreciate people protecting property. Remember, guys, Katz says he's on Kyle's side now, so he's definitely not trying to imply it was intentional homicide. Number 5, he claims Kyle said he didn't shoot anybody and makes a point of saying one might say lying about a shooting in of itself is wrong. I wonder who the one is he's referring to. Side note, when a mob is screaming cranium that boy, stopping to outline the intricacies of the incident is hazardous to your health. Attempt to assert innocence as much as possible while getting the hell out of there. Who did what and why is best discussed with authorities. Violent mobs aren't known for their rational conversational skills. And he's absolutely right there. I mean, the whole idea that Kyle should have stopped and explained to the mob what happened is ludicrous. And I have a feeling the people that offer that kind of know it is. But they want Kyle convicted anyway. And so they come up with these excuses. Number 6, more refusal to acknowledge wrongdoing by anyone other than Kyle and blaming his age for the outcome. Do 40-year-olds not fear for their lives when a gun's pointed at their head? Number 7, still no suggestion that Kyle's innocent. The closest he gets is saying a jury should consider whether there's malice. Notice he doesn't give his opinion. Point number 8, he makes a vague statement that the gun statute is badly written, saying there's videos and articles on it. Where? By who? Are any written by experts in gun law or just by people online? I'm not sure if he's getting that on that one, but okay. Number 9, this one shows his ignorance of the law. He babbles about hunting and compares it to carrying for self-defense. There's no self-defense carry law, and Kyle isn't claiming there is. The argument is it was legal for him to open carry. The fact he had to use it for self-defense is tragic for the victim. That's Kyle, even if Katz prefers to claim it's the child rapist. Number 10, uninteresting talk about hunting that's a layup for point 11. Point 11, he tries to lump all Democrats into an anti-2A group and argue Democrats believe the spirit of a statute should apply, even if that's not what the wording says. He pulls a Binger and acknowledges only the first line of the statute he says is a blanket ban. These are the exact words Binger used in the Daubert hearings after Katz said them. On anyone under 18 possessing a gun, negating every previous point he made about the gun charge and throwing Kyle and Dominic under the bus. Dominic more so, as he says Kyle will get a slap on the wrist while Dominic will face serious consequences. The claim that says the most about Katz in point 11 is him saying the statute is there because minors don't have the mental capacity to have proper judgment in potential confrontations involving people. If he believed Kyle was innocent, then he'd think Kyle's judgment was appropriate for the circumstances, in which case Kyle being a minor is irrelevant. This statement is an admission that he feels Kyle was responsible for what happened and Dominic was complicit. Both are untrue, and if he has to argue the spirit of the statute should be applied because the statute itself doesn't apply, then he's saying he believes the statute should be circumnavigated to find Kyle and Dominic guilty because the law itself says they're innocent. Does that sound like a man who's changed his mind about Kyle? Point 12. This one's a poorly veiled attempt to paint Kyle as doing something awful because of COVID. pathetic, while initially insinuating he's talking about himself. If you're struggling to see this, then take note of the last line and the fact he has to preface the paragraph with, "I swear in normal circumstances I'm a decent human." That's debatable. You can summarize this point as, "I swear I'm not a baddie, and it was just a one-off misunderstanding, so tell me how great I am for being so open-minded." Okay, so I can't really go on much further. It takes a long time to edit these videos. And if I went through the entire letter, I would be editing till tomorrow. And so I think you get the idea, though. There are people out there who do not believe that Paul Katz has turned over a new leaf. And again, I'm not going to get involved in one way or the other. It's not that important to me, but it's important to a lot of other people. So I will leave it up to you to decide and take from this what you want. Like my video and subscribe to my channel.